Hey, come on! This is gonna be a match to remember. Fight!
Today's video, I want to focus on a twitlonger from Harada where he talks about how they like to pick and choose characters. This is very important because, Tekken 8 is coming. Before we dive into this twitlonger, I do want to give a little bit of background. I do just want to set the tone so you can see why Harada is responding and saying what he's saying. Geese Howard, in a lot of ways, was a turning point for Tekken. This is when everyone really started paying attention to DLC. I'll use Bruce as an example. When Geese Howard came out, that's when people started saying, put Bruce, put Jun Kazama. But back then, it wasn't so aggressive. It wasn't so, vicious. It was like, hey, Harada, are you going to add Bruce? Oh, so this means you're going to add Bruce, right? You're adding that guy. But as the updates came out and more characters released, the characters that people were requesting never came, and the discussion around DLC characters started to turn very negative. And that also combined with how powerful the DLC characters was. Those two things, people not getting the characters that they want, and then the power level of the characters is really what started spiraling and started evolving into what we have today, where some people don't even like to talk about DLC, and some people, that's all they talk about, is balancing. October 18th, 2017, Harada tweets a twitlonger. It says, first of all, although I have talked over several times and I'll mention this again, for me, all characters are like sons and daughters. Sometimes you say Harada dislikes or hates X character, but it's a completely selfish belief or misunderstanding. And this is something that people often did. They was like, oh, you're not putting this character in the game, you must hate them. Oh, you're not giving this character buffs, you must hate them. There is no way I dislike or hate characters that we have created or characters that are our assets. Of course, I dislike spammers or posts like spamming about this. It is our responsibility that some characters could not gain popularity. However, it is also a reality that not all characters will get popularity. It's also a reality that it will be ranked, and popularity data and usage are different. So this is a good sentence right here. You could kind of quote this, turn it into a magnet, and put it on your refrigerator. He's acknowledging that some characters don't do well. Every character can't be a Brian Fury. Every character can't be a King. This is what I try to do too. Popularity data and usage data are two different things. In the past, I kind of used these words interchangeably, but now when I talk about these characters, I try to make sure I use the correct term because it's very important. Usage and popularity. For example, Yoshimitsu is one of the most popular characters in all of Tekken, but when you talk about usage, he's one of the lowest. So there is a very big distinction between the two. And it's also true that we need a new character. This means from every aspect. At the same time, however, increasing the number of characters, 50 or 60 character roster increases not only the cost, but also complexity as fighting games. And you notice conflicts with many requests. Although it's only an example, many problems were pointed out in Tag 2. Evaluation was high for Tag 2 for core fans, but good results were not obtained in all. I think that's supposed to be at all. In point, Tekken 3 and Tekken 7 led to a good result. Of course, it includes sales and marketing data. Of course, Tekken 5 is highly evaluated also in terms of numbers of roster, about 30 characters. It's funny reading this section of the twitlonger, but then seeing what happened with Tekken 7, years later. He's saying 50 to 60 character rosters is bad. It's too much. It's bloated. And that's the exact thing we say about Tekken 7 right now. 30 characters is a solid number. And this kind of says what Tekken 8 will be, about 30, right? But once you get to that 50, 60, it's too much, especially in early stages of release. It will be difficult in every respect from the game system bounds budget side about the roster number. We want to make all characters popular, but sometimes it's difficult. Statistical data sets the reality. Of course, we do not decide everything with just ranks such as usage rates. However, there's an aspect that the usage data becomes one big indicator / judgment material. Popularity and usage are different depending on the region as integrated data. What I like here is how he's acknowledging that yes, usage data is very important, but also there's other things that factor into this. And I think Jun Kazama is a perfect example of this. But he said in the past that Jun Kazama did not have the best usage data, and that's why they removed her from the games for so long. But her being absent for so long, that made her popular in another sense. Kuma is a character who's not played a lot, but that's very important to the identity of Tekken. That's very important when you talk about casuals or new players picking up the game. Naturally, I know that there are fans in each character. That is why we feel our responsibility. And sometimes I feel sad, like fans as fans. Examples, personally, I love Marduk's gameplay. However, it's also statistically true that Marduk could not gain much support from fans. Even right now, with Marduk being one of the most OP characters in Tekken, he's still not popular. Same with Zafina, one of the most OP characters in Tekken, still not popular. If we decide everything on statistical data such as usage rates, I will not read individuals' opinions, etc. in SNNs. For example, June usage was low outside North America, but when Tag 2, it was made to reappear in the roster with reference to the opinion of SNN. However, although it was difficult to say that much support was obtained, I think he's talking about for Jun Kazama. Again, of course, it's our fault that we could not make some characters popular. I love that. I love that from Harada. He is accepting fault for characters not being popular. That is like commendable. Because that's the thing as a game developer. You spend all this time creating a design, creating a Shihid, a Gigas, a Lucky Chloe. They're trying to give us something that we, would like and enjoy. And when they don't do that, it's like you feel bad about it. You're like, man, we messed up. So I love that he is acknowledging that and owning up to it, right? But if I ask you one thing, I'd like to ask for your support strongly when the character is active, please. What is active? I think when he means the character first come out, or I think he just means when we put a character in a game, play that character. I think that's what he means. I think it would be a matter of course to make a noise when the character was out of the roster, but the results would have been different if the character was getting the same support when it was active. So please show me your love for your character rather than cry or anger if possible. So this is the thing, right? He's basically talking, and I did this too. I'm sorry, Harada. I did this too. But I was one of the people who was complaining, put Zafina in the game, put Kunimitsu in the game. But when both of those characters were added, I played them for like a week, 2 weeks, and then I stopped. And, I was part of the problem. I am part of the problem. This is exactly what Harada is talking about. Asking for something for so long. I remember and back then I never tweeted at Harada or anything, but like in my videos and stuff like that, I just used to always say, put these characters in the game. And then once they did, I just didn't play it, So that's one thing that I learned about myself, and in Tekken 8, I will not do. I will not request a character, any characters really. As long as Yoshimitsu is there and maybe Dragunov, then I'm good. I'm not going to request any characters because I saw how I played into the problem in Tekken 7. The final section of this twitlonger says, fortunately, Tekken 7 is selling well. I think selling very well. That means that I'll make it easier to express our opinions to the person who controls our business from us. So I think this is him talking about Bandai Namco, talking about their influence. That's just my interpretation. We will continue to work on the series in the future. Thank you. I do appreciate this though. I do appreciate this, and it gives a lot of context, because Tekken 7 was a big learning experience, not just for us, but for them too. This is the first time they ever released this many characters after launch. This is the first time they experienced some of the problems that they did. So with Tekken 8, 1, releasing with completely detached from arcades, and 2, in this online environment, Twitter, where every problem, every issue is discovered immediately and outcry and anger is expressed immediately. This is something that they are adapting to. They had to adapt to. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I definitely did. I think it's cool to read some of these things from Harada and just reflect on what happened and see how things evolved from this point, that point, and further into the future, right? So thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, but that's it. See you next time, and bye-bye.